If you run a business, however big or small, and sometimes wonder whether you're doing things the right way or the wrong way, then you're in the right place. We are two business owners who choose to sit around the same table, share mistakes, challenge each other, and keep learning. We are two ordinary blokes in business, and this is our journey to a million. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Martin.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. D-Mob happy today, Martin.
Because you're off on holes soon, are you?
I'm flying off on a jet plane yet.
Magic.
Whether I'll get back, I don't know, but
let's hope so. Let's hope so. So we're doing something a little bit different this week. We're having a deep dive into your business and your business sort of life, John. This week, we're putting it under the guise of a special, but it's actually because we're recording it on a different day and you're going on holiday. So, but it should be good, right?
Yes, and I have been called special before, Martin, so I'm quite used to that terminology.
Oh God, I'm not looking forward to this. Right, okay. So, John, let's start right at the beginning. For anyone who's never heard of you, what do you do? Who do you serve? What problem do you solve?
Okay, so I'm John Draper. My company is Greener Gardens. We're based in Nottingham, and we mainly serve homeowners. We don't do a lot of commercial work.
Right, okay. And what do you do for homeowners?
We do lawn treatment, a lawn care service. So
Right.
feeding, weeding, moss controls, lawn renovation, that sort of type of stuff.
Okay. And when did you start Greener Gardens?
That's a good question. It's a long time ago. We've celebrated over 20 years, so probably about 23, 24 years.
Right, okay. And so I'm really interested to know what, because you had the exuberance of youth at that point, what were your aspirations when you started the business?
Excuse me, I still got my cough. My aspirations, I think, I don't think I had any aspirations about the business in terms of it must be a business of this particular size or this particular number or take over the world. That wasn't on my radar. What was on my radar was I was tired of being in corporate life. And for me, it was about creating a lifestyle business for Kate and myself. So, yeah.
So it's kind of a way out of the rat race.
I actively managed my mileage down from 50,000 miles a year down to 40,000 miles a year, and it was still sort of 2-3 nights a week away. And, that wasn't the environment that I wanted to bring up my, my family.
Right. Okay. So it was kind of, yeah, I mean, because a lot of people set out with great ambitions about stuff. Yours was about sort of leaving the past behind and changing the way you lived rather than, making X amount of pounds or whatever.
Yeah, it was about a lifestyle, a conscious lifestyle change. But, and when we met and people still sort of talk about it now, we still only target a short radius around sort of Nottingham. So we're not going further afield. So I think that has restricted our growth in certain ways, but we've got density. We don't do a lot of traveling, and it's worked out well.
That's given you a certain amount of control, though, hasn't it? Which is exactly what you were looking for, is what you're sort of saying.
Yeah, right, okay. And we managed for a number of years. We managed growth, and we managed what we would do by taking on more work or not taking on more work. And I think in one of the earlier podcasts we talked about what would you do different? Well, maybe if I knew then what I know now, I may have done it different. But actually,
okay. So seeing as that's my next question, no, that's fine. What would you have done differently?
I
just wanted to get the question in first, John.
I think knowing what I know now is that actually, in terms of being an entrepreneur, a business owner, whatever industry you're in, is to actually think of that sort of exit plan. It's almost like if if you wrote a book, the first chapter should be exit, because you've got to drive towards that vision, basically. And I think possibly what I would do different, because I think that was the question, wasn't it, Martin? What would I do different?
Yeah.
I think I would think more about an exit plan at the start rather than, in the middle or towards the end, because I think that's going to give you something to drive towards.
Well, can I be as bold as to challenge you on that? Because I think when you say exit plan, it's like, at what size or what year or what defined point can you get out of the business? Isn't that just a target that you can set in the business?
I suppose it is.
Because I understand that the point about sort of starting with the end almost, but yeah, what would you say to that?
I'd say it's a great question, Martin. I'd need to.
Would you like me to move on, John?
Yes, please. No, I think it's a great question. I think it's
just framed differently.
It's just framed differently. Yes. And I suppose one of the things that we hadn't really talked about is, well, how old am I? Well, at the time I bought...
I don't think anyone wants to know, John.
No, well, they might do, because I think that's relevant to where we are now. And I'm sort of, when I started the business, I was just turned sort of 40, midlife crisis, you could say. And now I'm sort of, coming into my 60s. Well, I'm in my 60s. So, it's early 60s, I should point out to the listener. Early. Very important fact that I'm learning that. So actually my life has a different set of objectives now, doesn't it? It's a different set of things on my mind in terms of where I am. And actually, probably I am wrong in terms of what is your exit plan, but our plan now is that the business can support us and us do a little bit less, maybe, so it probably does mean you need to think about it a bit more.
Yeah, no, I didn't think that. I don't think having an exit plan is wrong, John. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that. I was just wondering whether that was just a different.
Yeah,
it's a different target, isn't it? It's
yes.
a different way of saying target. So, yeah. Right, okay, and so what? You've been in business. You said 22, 23 years. What has changed in you over that time running a business? How have you changed?
How have I changed? That's a good question. I think I've become wiser. I've had to listen to the words of Kate, my wife, who will tell me that there's things I can control and things I can't control, and not to worry about the things that I can't control. And there's lots of things to worry about in a business. And I think as you grow and you develop another family, which is your family of work colleagues, there's lots of worrying to do. So I think I've changed in probably confidence. Actually, I've probably got more confidence about what I do, and I've taken that from the people I learnt from in my corporate life, and I still meet up with those people 25 years on. I still meet up with the people that made a big mark on my life and my career. So yeah, I think I've probably changed by listening and learning and reflecting and actually trying to make sure we live by the values that I'd still like to be looked after myself, basically.
Yeah. So you've kind of that's lovely. I mean, you've kept learning, haven't you? I mean, it's what we say at the beginning of every podcast. It's like we do like to keep learning. So it's I think it's that's a great thing. What's the thing you enjoy most about running Greener Gardens?
Another good question, Martin.
It's almost like I'm not making these up on the spot. It's like I've thought about them, isn't it, John?
Yeah. What's the thing I like the most? I think there's satisfaction knowing that we've done a good job. We've we have some clarity about what we're trying to achieve, and we've been consistent. And I think probably actually the consistency helps us with our job satisfaction.
Why is that?
I think because we set a standard and we're running to those standards, or we've got a target to achieve that standard, if you want to use that word, target, and not consistently changing direction when we don't have to. I think a long time ago we must have sorted out what our sort of visions and values were, and actually cemented those, and we still run to those. I mean, it's in a way, I remember when we first started, it was quite simple, because the questions we were asked is, well, we never know who's coming. This is a previous sort of users, suppliers people may have had. We never know who's coming. We don't know what day they come in, and we don't know what time. And you're thinking, well, those are quite easy things to fix, and and we've always stuck by that. That's something that we're keen to share with customers, really, and that gives them some consistency. It gives them a bit of a rhythm, doesn't it? You've taught me about the operating rhythm, and it's about part of that customer flow rhythm. They know the process that's going to happen, and I think that actually helps your staff support your business, because they also know what's going to happen, because it's consistent in terms of, it's not, this week John wants us to do this, and next week John will want us to do something completely different. It's
predictable.
About, yeah.
I think look from outside looking in. I think the predictability and the consistency of Greener Gardens is a real asset.
Thank you.
That's quite all right. Okay. So, and what's the hardest thing about running your own business? I'm thinking probably like I'm thinking maybe not the challenges you face in day-to-day life in the business, but the personal toll that it takes on you. What's been the hardest thing to deal with?
For me, it's probably switching off. It's always there with you. It's always on your mind, and at different levels, and at different levels of concern, whether it's happiness or concerns, whether it's financial. It's always there. But actually, for the listener, what I'm actually finding is that as we grow and we scale, because that's what our podcast is about, it's about our journey to 1 million. Actually, what I thought would be really hard, and I didn't want to go there to start off with, is scale and size, because it was quite daunting. Actually, out of that scale and size, it becomes easier.
You share the load.
Yeah, and I would actually say that it does seem to become easier. I'm sure it will have some different challenges, but it does seem to come easier.
Okay.
Have I answered the question? Because
yeah, I think so. Well, you said it's never being able to switch off, which I can really relate to. It's that saying, the buck stops here. It's true, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, in our business, we've been doing a racy form, and it's like, who supports, who's responsible, and who's overall accountable, and everything is me on that, isn't it? OA is me.
Tough at the top.
It's tough at the top.
Tougher at the bottom. Be
careful who you upset on the way up, because you never know who you're going to meet on the way down, isn't it?
Very, very true. Very true. So let's move on to more current times. What's been your most difficult moment this year, and why?
The difficult moment this year. I think off the top of my head, it would probably be recruitment and teamwork and establishing that team effort. I'm hoping that my biggest my biggest thing is yet to come, which is when we hit our target, and I have to write out that paycheck sort of bonus. That will be a lovely.
That'll be really hard for you.
That will be a
I'm
lovely
not
problem.
signing. I'm not signing.
That'll be a lovely problem to have. But yeah, I think yeah, I think it's this year. It's probably been recruitment, but we have done some really good recruitment, and I think the recruitment process has got easier or better because of what we've learned along the way.
Well, I was going to say,
it consumes the time. I think that's probably what's happened. It's probably consumed the time.
Often our greatest challenges are where we have the most growth and most learning.
Mm.
So that what you're saying kind of backs that up.
Mm.
The path is the obstacle.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually, as my neighbour said to me one day, well, you've been here before, John. You know what to do. And it's true, isn't it? You know what to do. You know how you're going to do it, and you you take the steps and you do the process.
So do you sometimes doubt yourself then?
All the time. I've left a long pause there, Martin, for you to reflect on that. But yeah, no, all the time. I am the glass half empty man. Why would anybody want to listen to our podcast and hear about me waffling on? What do I know about?
I've got news for you, John. They don't.
No. Well, now I know.
I think you're right. Again, it's those feelings don't go away, do they? I think even the most hardened business people have doubt at some point.
Mm. Yeah, and I think actually, what's important out of that is to talk to other people. Like you and I got going all those years ago through talking, and look where we are now. But I reached out to another lawn care sort of company the other day just to ask a question. We was on the phone for like 40 minutes, and it was a great conversation, and we discussed stuff like that we would discuss, and actually that becomes a great support, and you realize that you're not alone, and it's not just you facing those challenges, and you say some of the stuff that you've done or you're doing or you're thinking about, and people go, that's a great idea, because you haven't you haven't really got anybody to bounce those ideas off. And I think a network of people around you that will be honest and also have a positive attitude. I think that's important, isn't it? The negative people can be very much energy suckers and draining mentally, physically, emotionally. So, think about who you surround yourself with and embrace that positive energy.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you. And we spoke earlier or just now about your most difficult moment this year. What if you think back to all the years you've been in business, is there any one that sticks out as being your best year? And if so, why was that?
In business or in life?
I think probably in business.
Well, there's been 20 good years, hasn't there? Because every year's been a good year.
Well, there you go. So you just a moment ago, you said that you were a half glass empty man. And actually, there you go, proving differently.
Well, that's what I've learned on this podcast, Martin. I've got to make an effort to be more positive. And actually, I think I am. And I think I've changed over the last few years as well. I know I've changed over the last few years. And it's made a big difference in my life, really. And whether that's, yeah, I have changed over the last sort of 4 or 5 years. I think that's come from running your own business, and it's come from networking with people, and it's come from thinking about having that positive attitude, and you can't be negative you've got to think of the glass being half full. It's tough. Life is tough. I'm sure if I was an employee, it would be tough.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I've mentioned this before on the podcast. It's like choose your tough.
Mm,
You know, it's everything is hard. You just decide which hard you're going to take.
yeah. Yeah.
And so I'm really keen to understand as well. Over, like you say, 20 good years. That's fantastic. Have you in those 20 years? Have you ever made the money that you thought you would make?
No.
Okay. Why do you think that is?
For all the things that we've shared with our listener on the podcast, whether it be pricing, whether it be going for it for sort of growth, I think there's a mindset there as well. And actually, just thinking about that for the time, I've just said that probably the last sort of 5 years have been, I've changed. And in the last 5 years, I have changed about how I've thought about the business and what we do with the business. And actually, I'm no longer bouncing around thinking at some point I'll have a list that can be sold. I've actually now grown it to being a business that is actually operating properly and operating without me. And you know what? Maybe on reflection, that is the change, Martin. And maybe that's why I think, and I said that think about your end game at the start, because if I'd have done that 15 years ago, I might have moved into Derbyshire. I might not.
let's not go too far. Okay, and what does that's really interesting. So there's a mindset shift, and that has created a shift in the business. And so what does success mean to you now? What does success look like to you?
Excuse me. Success looks to me like we do a big payout this year to our staff because we've hit our targets that we're shooting for, and that the next one, which is the million, doesn't happen in 5 years; it happens in 3 years. And success to me looks like, I sat with Dave in the office yesterday, and we was just having a natter, and I said it's really exciting, Dave, because if you think about where we are now, you've been a big part of the business for a long time, but you've been a big part of all the people we're recruiting and all the changes. You're a big, that's part of you now. That's in your DNA, in terms of what decisions we've made. And it's exciting, because we've got a formula that seems to work, and hopefully we can grow it and learn together. It's about supporting him and not overloading him, because that's going to help us grow the business.
It's interesting, John. When I asked that question, the first thing you said was to pay the staff a bonus.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
then you go on to talk about key members of your staff as well. That's what success looks like.
Mm. Yeah, and I'm seeing that now.
It's the people.
Yeah. Yeah, and you've taught me that, Martin. I mean, we have lots of conversations about. Well, no, I don't say you've taught me. You've encouraged me, and you've kept feeding that vision. Yeah, the way that I see my success now is that, I'm the visionary. And Dave is the sort of, I'm going to use the word doer, but that's the wrong word. But
facilitator.
Facilitator. That's a better word. Yeah, yeah. And his challenge is to sort of do all that, but make sure he's got some people around him that can help him achieve that. But also to be able to say to me, no, John, that's a bit of a daft idea at the moment. That, and what's really interesting is we're working together in a completely different way now to what we've worked over the last sort of 10, 12, 13 years he's worked with us.
And I would hazard a guess that because he's got more responsibility and you discuss things more with him, that he's raising his game.
Definitely.
He's more invested.
Definitely. Yeah.
Good stuff. Love it. Okay, a bit more personal now, John. Because we alluded to earlier the fact that business is it's kind of all encompassing, isn't it? So I'd really love to know what impact has owning a business had on your family, positive, negative, whichever.
Do I need to give Kate a shout?
I would if I were you.
Well, excuse me. I think a challenge of any business is we probably never set out to work together, but we work together really well. I know what Kate likes to do in the sort of the job, and she goes out and does it really well. But then, she has to. I've had to learn to listen to the hand, which is that I can't keep talking about sort of work all the time. So it's about, over the years, I think I've become a lot more receptive to when I can discuss work and when I shouldn't discuss work, and how much of work we discuss. So I think you have to look at it as being part of that great team, isn't it? You have a great relationship and a great teamwork with Heather and the kids that work in the business, which Hayes. I think for me, it has affected, and you have to think about how it affects your sort of personal life. I think what it has given is us the freedom, and me the freedom that I was around, which my dad was never around when I was a kid growing up, because he was doing all the same things that I've been trying to do, and that's create a warm, homely environment and a safe place, and a vision for Hazel to follow, who's our daughter. And I think we've done that. And she certainly thinks about things as an entrepreneur, and she's at uni, but she's doing a year out. But I know from the conversations we've had that working experience and the things that we've done has reflected in how she looks at life. And a big concern there is she might actually think this working life is quite easy, and it's bloody tough out there, and it's going to get tougher, with what's going on in the world. But I would like to think that personally we have created a lifestyle that we wanted to live by. We still live in a nice house in a nice area. We haven't had to downsize because we couldn't pay the mortgage. We've ticked all the boxes that we wanted to tick as a lifestyle business. But maybe I should have started scaling it a few years earlier than what I did. And I think the good times, we have a little sort of Christmas card joke. Next year, Rodney, we'll be millionaires. And I think that time happens every year because we're not badly off. But we're not bathing in gold coins every week.
That's an image neither the listeners nor I need in our heads. So
shall I move on then? Did that sound quite honest or quite deep, or how did that sound?
I think, well, I mean, it was honest. Because you are honest. I think as parents and spouses, we have quite a big responsibility, because often the people around you pick up stuff, especially your family, pick up stuff through osmosis, don't they? They learn from how you are and how you behave. And I think that's a big responsibility. And I think that can be a positive and a negative. So I know a lot of my kids moan about us, or certainly, up until maybe 5 years ago, they moaned about us talking around the dinner table. Now they're the ones starting the conversation about work, and it's and we're like, hold on, it's so I think it's just a tricky one to manage, but as long as you're sensible about it.
and I can't remember what they all are because it was well, it's early morning, isn't it? But Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you've got different factors that you need to tick off the off your list, and I think we've ticked off a lot of those, and probably what you're saying, if I reflect back on today's conversation, is that you're talking about a target. That was never on my mind to have. It was about covering the costs, creating a lifestyle that we employ can enjoy, in a safe place for them to come to work, and all that sort of stuff. And I think the next stage is actually right. Let's go and get some of those rewards.
Can I sum this up? So what you're saying is that you wanted initially to provide for your family, and now you want to see what you're capable of.
Yeah, I think that would be a good summary, Martin. Could you write that down and send it to me as an email so I can remember when I come back off my Jolly Bobs? This is what it's all about.
Oh, dear. What sacrifices have you had to make in that, John?
Ooh, well, I lost having a new car every 3 years.
Oh dear. That's it. That's the sacrifice.
Well, yeah, I'm not a material person. So yeah, I mean, every 2-3 years I had a new company car, which was lovely. But that sounded lovely. But did you get the colour you wanted? Yes. Did you get the model you wanted? Possibly not. I think sacrifice is probably time, because you'll never get the time back.
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest sacrifice is time. Yeah. Can I go with that?
You can. Okay, so we've had a look at where you've come from and kind of how you've changed, because that's what I'm interested in as the person. What now does the future hold? I mean, you've alluded to you want to do your 500,000 this year and then 1 million in a couple of years. I think that's fantastic, having that kind of ambition. How do you see that panning out? How do you what does that future look like?
Well, I'd like to clarify for the listener that, first of all, I didn't say 2 years, Martin. I said 3.
Oh, right. Okay.
So well, I don't want any challenges coming back at me that are not achievable. Measure smart. How do I see it? I'm actually really excited, even at my age, Martin, about where the business can go. And I think that has come from that decision to grow, whether I'd have put it down as scale. But my first objectives of growth was actually me not doing everything. And as I've gained confidence in delegating some roles and sharing those roles, and actually that confidence has come from empowering other people to actually do some stuff. I'm now starting to see another vision, and actually I would love to see Greener Gardens as a £1 million business, and it creates so many more opportunities for all of us in there. So I think that's my biggest excitement is seeing it grow and actually listening and taking the tools to grow. So, yeah, that's
and sort of embracing a mindset shift.
Yeah, and it's happening. We invested in some new machinery this year. That's the first time we bought new machinery for a long time. And even yes,
what was that? A stapler?
A heavy duty stapler for the policies and procedures document. Yeah, because you've got to make sure they're all stapled together, haven't you? I mean,
Ah.
yeah, and actually, Dave and I were sort of nattering about stuff, and he says, "Why don't we look at this?" Well, he actually said, "Why don't we?" Yeah, I said, "Why don't we look at this?" And he says, "What about this machine? That'll be perfect. Let's have a go." And you know what? We've arranged a demo. So in an 8-hour day where we've both been out, we've arranged a demo. We've got one coming on trial in June, in 3-4 weeks time, and if that's going to help us make the money and do more work, we'll buy it. And that's a totally different mind shift to me as before, because I'll be thinking about, where am I going to put it? Is it going to get used all the time? Is it going to be a good use of that? But actually, that machine can last us a long time and earn us a lot of money, which is a totally different mindset to the John of old.
Rather than an expense, it's an investment.
Yeah. And actually, when you start talking to the guys about it, like the machine we bought earlier this year, they're loving it and they're selling it and they've got confidence. They're going out with kit they can be proud of as well. So you've actually added to their quality of coming to work.
Great. Okay. And if you could offer one piece of advice for someone listening now in their business journey, what would that piece of advice be?
Well, I think it's got to be what I said at the start, Martin. Think about your exit plan, where you want to be, because that, if I'd have done that sooner, I might be on this journey sort of sooner. But also probably, so that one is, think about your exit plan. What is your overall plan? But also don't compare, because I think we talked about, I think this is how the podcast came about. We talked about comparisons in that conversation, and everybody's situation is different. And, don't compare, because you've got to live your life, surround yourself with the positive people, don't compare, and have a go. There's no success in not having a go, is there? There's probably a great quote you've got there for me, Martin, but if you don't have a go, you're not going to fail. And actually, not having a go means that you have failed, isn't it?
Failure only occurs when you stop. Yeah. I think wise words there, John. Thank you for that.
Really, for that early in the morning.
I know, fantastic, isn't it? Do you think anything, if you stepped away, if you went to Croatia and stayed there for 4 weeks rather than the one, is there anything that would break in your business?
I would like to be bold and confident and say probably not, but not break. We're not quite at that stage yet as that 4-week sort of gap. Or maybe I'm not at that stage in that 4-week gap. The team might be, but maybe I'm not.
That's really funny. I was going to say, I bet the team would step up. I think if they needed to, I think they'd step up and they'd make it happen.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I think sorry, Martin, I think you're right. And just picking on that, I think what you see in your own business is all the negatives, and you don't often sort of talk about the successes. And again, in my mental shift, I'm trying to talk about the successes more to people. But I do think part of our process in terms of looking at what's a single point of failure, there's a lot more stuff in our business that we can do that's going to make sure that it runs by itself with a 3-4 week gap, and that's going to come from investment and time, and that's our next hire. That is the person that's going to facilitate those sorts of things happening, because people will have more time to do those things. And I think we've already identified that with our team of technicians, there's more that they can do to sort of assist Dave, and actually add a bit more quality to their life in terms of an understanding of what goes on. So I think I think I was probably a bit harsh. I think you're right. I think it probably would work, and it would work really well. But I'm probably not at the stage that I'm thinking I've ticked those boxes. But maybe you get to the stage that you never feel you'll tick those boxes, because we always keep moving stuff on, don't we?
Yeah, I think you're really right. It's a human. Well, I think it's a human nature thing to kind of look at problems. They interrupt our train of thought and cause us to stop and maybe worry, but actually there are far more positives going on all the time, and that you take for granted. And I think you're right to stop and take stock and say, actually, look, all these, look at where we've come from. If you're going to compare yourself to yesterday or yesteryear, that's where the comparison should be, because
Yeah.
that will show your growth and your and your progression.
Yeah. And I think for us, going back to your thing about would it work, the answer is yes, it would. But also me saying, but I'm not ready, because I was just looking at some stock forecasting sort of stuff the other day, and I do this and I do that, and and then I thought to myself, why don't I try and simplify that process for somebody else to do it? Because I'm quite happy to mess about with it like that, but actually it's a bit of a ball ache. Is there a way we could simplify that? And I think that's the bit that that's the bit that I'm into next. Is we've done a thing in the business: review, improve, simplify. And we've done that with our communications going out, and we're always looking at it in that way in our sort of processes that we do. And I was just thinking, yeah, there's lots of things we can do in internal operations in more of that sort of internal stuff, and that's my forecasting sort of tool, is what I'm going to sort of work on, is how can I just take one set of data and actually make it into a forecasting tool that works better. Now, have I got the skills to do that? I probably have to sit there and work it out. I just need the time to do that. And we're into our budget busting May, so I haven't had much time. Plus, also I've had 2 weeks holiday. So, you can't have everything, can you?
Clearly not. I
It's
mean, you're sacrificing your company vehicle, so I mean, wow.
So yeah, it's. But also, what I've learned is actually sometimes you need to employ somebody that can do that. And actually, it's the conversation we had the other day, isn't it? About your WhatsApp thing, that you could develop it yourself, or you could pay somebody, 4 figures to do it for you. You're going to get there a lot quicker by that person doing that.
You're buying the time, aren't you?
You're buying the time, and you're buying an answer to the mistakes that you've gone through in creating that.
Yeah, definitely. Okay.
And I think that's what scale gives you as well, doesn't it? It gives you a bit more of a buffer to invest in more of that. Whereas in the past you'd have gone, I can't afford it. I'll codge it together myself.
You have the resources. You have more resources available. Therefore, you can make quicker decisions and better decisions. And and by resources, I mean information as well as finance and all the rest of it. So it just makes everything a little bit more easier. John, that's been really interesting. Finding out a bit more about Greener Gardens, but more interesting for me is the man himself and how he thinks. So I'm really grateful to you for opening up and letting us in. So, is there? Do you have any last kind of things that you'd like to say that you don't think you have? This is your opportunity. Speak now or forever hold your peace.
I'm going to thank the listener for listening.
Oh, you sweetie.
It's interesting being interviewed, isn't it? And Yeah. I surround yourself. I think it is. It's surround yourself with people that have a similar vision, a similar attitude, because together you'll go far, really, and don't get consumed by negativity. That would be my final thing.
We all go further together.
Yeah. Yes, you've always got a one. Do these things just roll off your tongue, Martin, or are they like a carousel sort of thing, like an index card down there?
This is years of consuming social media positivity. Not something I'm proud of. Thank you very much, John. Are you? Do you want to take us out?
I can take us out. Yes. So, as I normally say, Martin, it's I don't know whether I'll enjoy listening to this podcast or not. As you know, I do listen to the podcasts, and maybe whilst we're on holiday and that drive down to the airport, maybe Kate might listen to one. I don't know. But Martin and myself, we've had these conversations for a number of years, and they've always been great. And we thought we'd share that with the listener. And it's about mistakes, growth, pressure, planning. And we're not experts. We're not preaching. We're just giving some good, honest reflection of life as an entrepreneur and the joys. So if it has been useful, feel free to follow us, ask us any questions at questions@twoblokes.co.uk. Share the podcast with other people, and if you have got a question that you'd like to that you're wrestling with, send it in, and we'll see if we can cover it in a future episode. So from John in Nottingham and from Martin in Ashford.
Yep.
Have a great week and see you soon.
Goodbye.